Hello my friends and welcome back. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Bakhmut. That's where now is going to be street fighting between the whatever remained of the Ukrainian defenders and the Russians, who seem to surrounded it and trying to clear the city. Zelensky was over there yesterday. I don't know if he really was or not, but anyway, let's take it as he was in the area, in the vicinity, in the front line over there, and see what's going on here. I have an article in Bakhmut, which little by little, as I said, these guys are going to tell us the truth, because but they're going to be always behind. So let's say, oh, the Russians are trying to attack this, they try to attack this, they try this offensive, but the Russians probably, usually, are way ahead of whatever they tell us, because they hope, they don't want to say, hey, they took Bakhmut. They're going to tell us in 3 days or 4 days or 5 days, all right? They reached Bakhmut, let's say. Why? Because they don't want to create panic in their armed forces. And then when Bakhmut is a done deal, then they will wait a few days and then they will tell you, yes, kind of like Russians, took over, but we're going to take it back and all that. This happened with each and every objective, and that's a normal behavior in a war. You don't want to destroy your morale of the troops, saying, we lost, man, let's go home, take our toys and call it good. So this article comes from the New Voice of Ukraine, from the Ukrainian side, obviously, from December 21st, 2022. This is the title: Russian conscripts, Wagner mercenaries, to face tough street fighting in Bakhmut, says UK intelligence. Well, if they said it, it must be true, you know. The UK intelligence is the most trustworthy, must be listened to. So it says here that Russian soldiers and Wagner mercenaries have made small advances, but somehow they're in Bakhmut, on the eastern edge of Bakhmut, Donetsk Oblast, over the last week, but will likely face tough street fighting, the UK Defense Intelligence said in its daily summary on Twitter on December 21st. Now the Russians need to complete their surrounding the encircling, let's put it this way, the city, and then wait, like they did with Mariupol, and hold the front, starve these guys, smoke them out, like the old ways, right? According to the agency, Russia's infantry likely now have a foothold in the eastern industrial areas of the town, and at times has advanced into the residential district of the city. Street fighting is ongoing. The department said that intense combat has occurred in the Bakhmut sector since June, but the front lines have primarily been in open country around the eastern approaches of the town. UK intelligence stressed the war has seen a little protracted, large-scale fighting in build-up areas since the Russian advanced into Lysychansk and Severodonetsk in July 2022. Yeah, little by little they give you the information, but 2-3 months, what happened 3 months, I tell you now. And then he says here, build up areas, FIBUA, that's what they call it. And then it says here that UK intelligence stressed the war has seen little protracted large-scale fighting. Okay, with FIBUA demanding highly trained infantry with excellent junior level leadership, this type of combat is unlikely to favor poorly trained Wagner fighters and the Russian army mobilized reservists, the summary states. Yeah, but what makes you think that Ukrainians have full, tough, trained, expert fighters? Okay, it's like they didn't fight, they didn't die. I think the main, that's a normal thing, okay? The most experienced fighters, I think they're already gone. Now it's the, I don't want to say leftovers, but whoever survived from the experienced ones, and the new trained people that you were able to mobilize, because you put the first, like in a game, you start a football game, you're not going to put the weakest team. when you start a game. Okay, I'm going to put the weakest team until we get 6-0, and then we against us, and then we send in the best players. We do this mostly if it's not much difference between who's playing and who's on the bench. That's one thing. The other one, if the people, the best players, are injured or they can't perform 90 minutes of a football game, soccer game, then you keep them on the bench, and when everybody gets tired, then you put them in, and they can perform better than expected. But mostly when you put the lineup team, is the best that you can have. And then they get tired. That means here you put the best ones you have, and then they get tired, which means they get eliminated on both sides. And what's left? Lack of energy, and then you start bringing new blood. How do you bring new blood? Mobilization. You don't mobilize the first team. You mobilize people that were waiting, that were not the first option probably. So right now they're not fighting the best of the best. I would say, yeah, there are troops that are trained, that survived, but I think the best troops are gone. Let's put it this way. So when these guys are just talking about the Russian army, yeah, that must be true. And that's what desired, to have experienced fighters. But where do you get the experienced fighters from? You know what I mean? You take them from what you have leftovers, and that's exactly what the Ukrainians also have. Not only Russians. I mean, like, they think that only Russians die here, and the Ukrainians, none of them? Please. So, Serhiy Cherevetsky, spokesman of the Eastern Command of the Armed Forces of Ukraine, said on national television on December 4 that Russians were losing 50 to 100 people killed and the same number wounded a day in fighting around Bakhmut. And how many of you? 0. According to him, by holding the line at Bakhmut, the Ukrainian military can achieve several important goals. The Russians cannot enter the operational space, are unable to carry out a strategic offensive operation, and are suffering huge losses every day. It seems like from December 4th until now, things change, because in the past 5 days I heard the Ukrainians, which were losing, say, actually, Bakhmut is unimportant. It's just has a feeling for the Russians. It's just it's nothing. It's not important. But in the 4th, when the things were not decided, they say, well, actually, this is what the Russians can do. Now that they're losing, it's unimportant. It's unbelievable. It's like the sour grape thing. Oh, I can't reach the grapes. Must be not good, but must be sour. The same here. But why do they do this? Because they deal with human. We. Us. So then they use the same psychological techniques. And besides, as I always say, the strata of the population, a segment of the population these guys are focusing on, zooming in, is not you and I. That's other people. The most, the scaredy cats, the cowards, the easily impressionable people. You scare them, you got them on your side. You don't have to do much about it. You just tell them tomorrow morning the Russian booth would be at your doorstep if you don't do what you do now for Ukraine. And they say, oh my God, I don't want that. Wait, idiot, is that possible? No, because they don't know if it's possible or not. They live in such an ignorant worldview that they don't even know if it's possible or not. That's why people are scared. That's why we're scared. Because we don't know what's possible and what's not possible. If you let a experienced person in the woods in the middle of the night, walking around, he's not going to be scared. But if you let a person that doesn't know shit, like a child, he's going to get scared. Why? He imagines. He doesn't know it's impossible to be, all kind of weird, creatures over there. And if he hears a hoo, oh my God, that's the devil coming. Is that possible? Some people think it's possible. I don't think. So I'm not going to get scared of that. So the possibility and the probability gives me, I lived through this. And if you turn on the light in the middle of the night in the woods, you're going to find the same thing that you find during the day. Yeah, there's some little predators going around in the middle of the night, like a little rat or something, or bats. But it's not going to be like, oh my God, it's going to be the big creature that you saw in the movies. Well, movies, are a representation of reality. Okay, yeah. Some people believe in movies. Adults, I'm talking. So yeah, the same here. Alexander Syrsky, commander of ground forces of the armed forces of Ukraine, earlier said that the capture of Bakhmut has a symbolic meaning for the Russian invaders. See, This is what's going on. Now it's a symbolic. Then on the 4th, it was very bad. According to him, by holding the lines, Bakhmut military can achieve several important goals, and that was on the 4th. And then he said, now this guy, Sirihi, the same guy, Alexander, something is wrong here, because they said Serhi. Oh, there's two people here. Okay, so Serhi said on the 4th that it's a big deal that can achieve this thing, and then Alexander Serhi, command of the ground forces, armed forces, earlier said that it's a symbolic meaning, symbolic, because we're losing, and we can lose it, it's fine. Where we're winning, it's very important. Where we're losing, it's just symbolic. It's, you know, it's the same shit. Why? Because they know it works. And I don't know, I'm not certain that if these guys who write the articles are very, you know, smart in mass psychology, which I love, and, you know, manipulation of thought. No, I don't think they are very smart in that, but they know the basics. They know the buttons. There are not too many to activate when you need a certain reaction from the population. You want the population to do that, you push this button. You want to go a little bit that way, this way. There are not too many ways, like three or four directions, you know. You have to make the population love you. You want the population hate him, you know. You want the population be confused, and you want the population to be, I don't know, neutral. 4 buttons, and for each button, you know what you have to push, what kind of narrative, and don't have to use the same names. For you against something else, you have an enemy, guys, we are under threat, they're gonna kill us, you're gonna take your kids, you're gonna take your wife and wealth, let's go. No more beer for you, no more Coca-Cola, and no more porn. So, oh my God. So you gotta fight now, you gotta support, give everything to those, and you create this problem. And then you wanna hate the other ones, you push another button, where you make everything comparable with certain kind of symbols, like Hitler, Stalin, not Mao. Mao is a good dude nowadays, and others. And then you go to others, you just create visions, images. That's how you work with images. Images being, okay, we're attacked by someone that is acting like, create the image. Let's say Hitler. Boom, there it is. Oh my God, the connection is done. So there's no more than four buttons they have to activate. So, but if you have a little bit of experience, you memorize. You need a little bit. You don't need a lot, because they're, as I said, they're targeting a certain kind of segment of the population. And if you're not in that one, and since you're here, I know you're not in that segment, because otherwise you have been gone a long time ago from this. Then you understand immediately these guys are just, they are at the surface. They don't even want to try to be too deep, because it's not you they are targeting, that's them. So there's going to be street fighting, there's going to be a lot of death, destruction, unfortunately, and eventually, who knows, I think the Russians will win. Why do I think? Win. Take over. Why? Because these guys are already going back. So if the Russians got to that town, the industrial side of the town, and they're pushing forward, the fact that they got already there, that means they are pushing. These guys cannot stop them unless they do something important. What can they do? What, bring troops from the Belarusian border? They can't, because those guys are maneuvering all the time. So they have to keep them over there. So where's the fresh blood? They're talking about mobilization. Not yet. I don't even know if they still have the capability to mobilize, people aside from babushkas and, I don't know, 3 chicken and 5 pigs or something. But they got the pigs in charge, so you can make them fight. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Stay strong, stay smart, look for the truth, and be just.